record. So we are now recording. So like I say, if anyone wants to turn their cameras off, absolutely fine. I will change mine to speaker view. So it should just be me that's recorded, and I will only, once it goes to publishing it, I'll just put the bit where it's got the screen, the shared screen on it. So here we go. Can everybody see the presentation? Thumbs up if you've still got your video on, and I know that, can you see it? Yeah? Brilliant, thank you. Right, yay. Right. So it occurred to me while I was listening to a webinar, I think it was by Russell Brunson. Some of you may or may not have heard of him. He has a business called ClickFunnels, and he does all sorts of businessy type things. But one of the big reasons I think that small business owners struggle with marketing is because by their very nature, they are introverts. And the thought of going out there and doing some kind of crazy dance and bigging up your business, talking to everybody, it's really not your thing. It's not my thing a lot of the times either, but I know I have to do it. And it is one of those things that I think can hold people back quite a bit. But you don't have to be that person. That's one of the things that I want to get across this evening. But first, one of the things I want to get over is the difference between marketing and sales. So to me, marketing is building relationships, it's connecting with people, it's building their trust, it's letting people know who you are, what you stand for, what you do. It's letting them know your mission, your vision, your values, what you stand for, what your ethics, your ethos, and what problem for them do you solve. Whereas sales is where the wallets get open, the credit cards get handed over. And if you've done your marketing correctly, if you've put the time in building relationships, building emotional connections, the sales bit is really, really easy. It doesn't have to be like your bellboy car salesman kind of thing. It doesn't have to be that kind of icky feeling, because you've built the relationship and people actually want to spend their money with you. They know that you are the person who can solve that pain point in their life. Now, a pain point in someone's life, it doesn't have to be a massive thing. It doesn't have to be a big issue. It could just be what to buy somebody for a birthday present. It could just be the party to put on for their kids. It could be that they want to be, a brilliant gift giver. It doesn't have to be a massive pain point. It's something that they need in their life that you can provide. So when it comes to the cosmetic side of things, the bath and body side of things, when it comes to gifts, the creative businesses, then you are providing a solution for a problem they have. So don't think of it as being salesy. Don't think of it as being that kind of cheesy car salesman kind of thing. You are actually solving a problem. And sometimes when you reframe that in your own head, it doesn't sound in your own head as though that you're actually selling them something. It's that you are providing something that they need. And I think sometimes once you've got that kind of clear in your mindset, again, it's about reframing things, then it becomes that little bit easier for you. So there we go. Now, a little bit of a secret in terms of introverts. You tend to be empathetic, which means that you identify with people, you can understand how they feel, and you can feel it too. Introverts tend to be quiet. They tend to listen more, which means that you gather a lot of information of the situation around you, which then will allow you to appear, and you probably are, more genuine, more authentic, and more honest, which is a really, really important set of traits to have when somebody's buying something from you. When it comes to making comments about a product, or when it comes to making comments about a situation, introverts tend to be more considerate in that they will think about how what they say affects other people. And you don't need to be the life and soul of everything. It's one, when it comes to being sort of sales and marketing, I think a lot of people think you've got to go out there and you've got to do the whole kind of put yourself in front of people in a really big, brash way. You don't. And I'll let you into a little secret. Your ideal audience will appreciate you more for who you are and the way you do things, because as much as you might be quiet, calm, and considered about the way you put yourself forward, your audience will resonate with that. Your audience will actually appreciate that, because there are a whole bunch of people out there, millions of people who are just like you, and they are your ideal audience. Your ideal audience don't want somebody who's going to come up and be all big and salesy in their face and be pushy and be brash and be loud, because that would put them off. There's a whole group of other people who can be like that for them. You can be the person that resonates with your audience, and that's what makes them your ideal audience. And I'll tell you how I know that. Because I am that person. I am that introvert. I am that. It doesn't come across that way sometimes, I know. And I know a lot of people who, especially who've known me in the last 10, maybe 15 years, wouldn't say that I am that person. But I very much used to be the child that would sit on the sidelines, waiting to see what everyone else was doing and wanting to join in. I didn't want to put myself out there. I didn't want to do things. I remember at school we did a play, and it was The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. And one of my best friends, she had the lead role of Tom Sawyer, and I was a little bit jealous, but I knew I couldn't do it. But I got the role of Huckleberry Finn, and I had a few lines, and I was so pleased, but I was so nervous. And I remember the stress that it caused my mum of all the, I was probably only about 10 or 11, but all of the kind of the sleepless nights and the little tantrums leading up to it, because I knew I wanted to do it, but I was really scared to do it. So there were all the kind of, my parents there trying to put in all the self-belief about, no, you can do this, it'll be really good. Lo and behold, we did it. It's a school play, let's face it. You've got a really, really welcoming audience when it comes to school plays. They can go as wrong as anything can go, and still the audience is a really happy audience. And I was so proud of myself for doing it. And you are fearful of getting things wrong. And I was always scared of going out there and making a mistake and looking like an idiot. And thankfully, the older I've got, the less I've realised it matters. And it doesn't really matter that much. And it's like doing this tonight. It is very difficult. I know what I want to say. And if I was sat in a group with all, with you all in a room, I'd probably be a little bit more comfortable. But it's the video thing. It's that whole thing of, I'm recording it, so this could be really odd. And if I have to watch this back again to edit it, that's going to be massively cringeworthy. But the more I do it, I'm sure the easier it will become. When I ran my own business, this is a picture of me and my mum at the Kirsty Allsop handmade event. I realised that if I wanted to take my business to the next level, I was going to have to step outside of my comfort zone. I was going to have to do bigger events. The smaller craft fairs were lovely, and the local ones, they were really, really good. But in order to get any kind of recognition for the brand, I needed to do the bigger events. I did things like Howard at Home and Gift, the Kirsty Allsop event. I did Living North and some of those big events. And I was really, really scared before I did them. And every single time I did them, they got a little bit easier, but I was still always nervous. But the big thing was, you stand there, you smile and you greet people, but I find it draining. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realise for people who are naturally introverted, is that going out there and doing the social thing is actually quite mentally and emotionally draining. So give yourself time to recover from that. If you are doing those sorts of events, if you're doing any kind of craft event, if you're doing any kind of whether it is a TikTok or Facebook Live and Instagram, whatever, give yourself time to emotionally recharge after that, because it can be really draining. The good thing is that when you're running your own small business, you do come across as genuinely passionate about the business that you're running, because it is yours. And whilst you've got the two sides of the coin there, in the fact that putting yourself out there when it is your business is quite hard, because it's your business. And so any kind of negativity, any kind of comments that aren't 100% what you want, you take them to heart. When I was doing marketing for the big companies that I used to work for, whatever they said about big companies, well, it didn't really matter, because they weren't talking about me. They were talking about the companies. Whereas when it's about your own business, it does matter. But the other side of that is that when you are talking to people about your business, you are being genuine, you are being authentic. And it's something I know I've talked about in the group quite a lot, is that it's a small business superpower to actually be genuinely authentic about your business. You've got loads of big brands who are constantly talking about, wanting to come across as being authentic. Well, by its very nature, you are, because it is your business, you are the business. And that actually makes it easier to talk to people about what you do. So these are just like a couple of pictures at the events that I did, just to prove that I did do them. And like I say, I was literally shaking for half the time that I would do them when I'm setting up and talking to people. And, after 3 or 4 days of doing those sorts of events, then I was absolutely exhausted, and I would have to take a couple of days off just to kind of recharge the batteries. And you'd want to kind of turn your phone off, you'd want to turn your emails off, you'd want to just not talk to people, because it was quite emotionally draining to do those sorts of things. But then I realised, like I say, that when you do the big events and when you do talk to people authentically and genuinely about your business, either online or in person, you start to build trust. When you start to build your connections, and when you build your connections, you start to build trust. And we all know that we are more likely to buy products and to invest in services from people that we trust. So yes, it takes a little bit of time to build trust, and that's absolutely fine, because you'll find that there are people who maybe have expressed an interest in your business for quite a while, and they might not buy for several months, they might not buy for several years, but all that time that you're spending with them, then you're actually building up your emotional connection with them, you're building up the trust, and it does mean that the relationship is actually generally stronger. However, I do know that you're probably still feeling, or a lot of people do still feel, like that little turtle in his shell. And that's part of the reason that I developed some of the tools that I put out there. So we've got the 31 creative conversation starters. That was designed for the times when you really can't think of anything to post in your group, the times when you're on one of your social media pages and you're thinking, I know I really need to post something, but I can't think of anything to post. Or you've posted a lot of product things, you've maybe posted a lot of business things, and you're thinking, right now it's the time I need to post something that's a bit more lighthearted, a bit more fun. What's your favourite film? What was your favourite album you bought? I know that one's going to date because people don't buy albums anymore. Things like the classic one of, do you dunk a biscuit or not? Is chocolate to be kept in the fridge? All those sorts of just quirky, conversational kind of comments and kind of posts to go out there that actually really resonate with people. And people have used them so far, so that they've had some really, really good interaction just by a quick one-liner on these sorts of things. Now, you can use them as part of your social media strategy. You can kind of schedule them in and then see what the interaction is. It's quite interesting, and it's quite useful to have some of these more conversational type posts in sort of interwoven with the sales posts, the product posts, even the behind the scenes posts, because these are absolutely not business related, they're absolutely not sales related, they are purely conversational, they're purely just engaging on a social level. I've also created another resource, which again, it comes back from my fear of not wanting to show my face on videos and things like that, because I'm just not really comfortable with it, to be fair. Is I know that there's an awful lot of things that you can do, the TikToks and Reels, where you don't have to show your face. So you can do a lot of things to do with screen recording. You can, in Canva and other tools like it, you can create images that you can then put to a video, which is quite a good way of doing things. You can do on TikTok, there are some ways of moving your products around and taking little snapshots. So you have those kind of almost stilted animated videos. There's unboxing, there's packaging videos, there's all those sorts of things that you can do without actually showing your face. And I've been doing a few experiments on these sorts of videos on the TikToks and Reels. And there does seem to be a little bit of a pattern to do with, there'll be one reel that will get quite a lot of interaction, and then one that only gets a little bit, and then it almost kind of alternately spikes. But the ones that get the most interaction and get shown to the most people are the ones that are videos of walks along the beach and that kind of thing. So those where you're just kind of out enjoying life, they don't have to be videos of you, which is quite nice for me anyway. And that's just a free tool, free resource that I've developed that just shows you some ideas. Again, it just gives you little bits of inspiration. I also created the infographic, which gives a high-level overview of the 8 main social media platforms, because what I don't want people to be doing is spending a lot of time on platforms where their customers aren't. If you're selling business to business, then yes, LinkedIn is for you. But if you're not, then it's not really a place that you need to hang out, really. It's not a place that you need to master. When I was working for the marketing agency, probably about 6 months ago now, I was on a call with a girl, and she was doing a fragrance business. And she was saying, I know I really need to get into to LinkedIn. And I said, why? And she said, because somebody told me I need to be on LinkedIn. I said, but your customers aren't there. If you're good on Facebook, if you're happy on Facebook, if you're happy on Instagram, that's where your customers are. Don't waste your time trying to learn a platform where your customers aren't. If you start going into wanting to do wholesale, if you start wanting to go selling into some of the bigger businesses and becoming a supplier for some of the bigger department stores, then yeah, absolutely, because you need to get into the buyers and the people there. But while you're still doing B2C work, while you're still actually selling to the end consumer, then you don't need to be on LinkedIn. And so I've kind of gone through the main platforms. There are apparently about 200 odd social media platforms, which I wasn't aware of. There's awful lots of them. There's ones that I have heard of, things like Reddit, which they're not really mainstream. So I've just focused on the 8 main ones. And then each month, I also send out the monthly awareness days. So I go through all the different awareness days platforms that there are, and I pick out the interesting ones. I pick out the ones that could be useful, could be maybe generate a topic of conversation. And whilst for me, as a marketeer, I would say that awareness days aren't something that you should build your whole social media strategy on, sprinkling a few in on your post is a really good idea. Sending emails with little tips about things is also really useful. But when an awareness day really does resonate with you, or when it's something that you can really make a good post about, then absolutely use it. The one that was the National Mac and Cheese Day, well, mac and cheese is my favourite food ever. So for me, I had to do something about that. I think I even ditched Website Wednesday for Mac and Cheese Day because it just really worked for me. Whereas, there was a chocolate day one, there's all sorts of different ones. And you can actually, if there isn't an awareness day for something that you want there to be an awareness day for, make it up. And actually, some of the awareness days calendars online will allow you to submit your own awareness day. So it can be worth, if there's quite a number of people who think, right, it should be National Bath Bomb Day, or it should be National, Kids Craft Party Day, then submit it, see what happens. Or you could just make it up, because no one's really going to check. The thing is about the social media posts about awareness days is it is just generating social conversation. It is that thing about the fact that social media should be kept social. It's not all about business. It's not all about, here's my product, sell, sell, sell. It's about your customers and your ideal audience learning who you are, how you do what you do, how what you do is better than what other people do. And that's where I think a lot of people fall down on social media. They try and use it as a tool to gain business before they've built up basically a social and emotional connection with people. So I've also got other things that are on offer now. I know that Debbie knows this because Debbie is a member of the monthly marketing membership. And so what I wanted to tell you as well is the other things that I've got that I offer, which are designed to support creative business owners. I came to the conclusion, or the realization, let's say, probably about 6 months ago, that marketing is something that I love doing. I love being able to support small businesses, but the company I was working for as a marketing agency, they weren't supporting the small enough businesses. Yes, they were the SMEs, but they were the people who had, if you like, serious budgets to invest in marketing. But for me, with the experience in the creative industry that I've got, I know that there are an awful lot of people who run creative enterprises who are absolutely amazing at making products, at coming up with design ideas, doing that. When you look at the work that goes into creating some of the products that you guys make, they are inspirational. But I know that there's a mental block when it comes to marketing those products, to actually getting the sales in. So there's all the money that's invested in the ingredients, the assessments, the stock, all of the equipment, everything like that, that it can find sort of a bit of a stopper when you're trying to actually get it out onto the market, because there is a bit of a mental block. There's a bit of a not wanting to push yourself out there, whether it's the introvert, whether it's the being terribly British, and not wanting to go, look at what I can do, it's absolutely brilliant. We just don't tend to push ourselves forward enough. And I think when we are slightly introverted, when we are slightly reserved, it is very difficult. But again, it comes back to that reframing it and being able to go out there and saying, look, yes, this is what I do, and this is how what I do can help you. It's what I can do to resolve a pain point that you have. So Marketing for Creatives came about very much in support of the small creative businesses, because I wanted to be able to give people a way of overcoming the overwhelm, of being able to actually successfully and confidently market their business. My ultimate goal is to be able to give small business owners the confidence to be able to sit and write a social media schedule, to be able to create their content pillars, find their keywords, update their own websites, and be able to spend as little time marketing as they need to, but to actually have the most successful marketing that they need to in order to get their business out there. So I've also got, what have we got here? The 10-day marketing cleanse challenge. Now, I know quite a few of you tried this. And it is going to go up in price because it was just a founding member offer before. And this 10-day marketing cleanse, the idea behind that is 10 days, 10 activities. It gets you thinking about your marketing. It gets you looking at things that you need to do, reviewing your social media profiles, looking at your sales platforms. A lot of people haven't looked at their websites in about 6 months. It looks at proper planning. It also looks at things that you might not consider to be directly marketing related. So things like your image names and the image sizes, your files, your folders, and actually having a bit more organization and planning in there. And then reviewing the results, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, and keeping it going. And the plan behind this is to get people just to start thinking about doing a little bit of marketing every single day. And again, the more you do something, the easier it becomes. The easier it becomes, the less time it takes you to do. So therefore, it's giving you time back in your business. That's the idea. And when you join the the monthly marketing membership, then the 10-day marketing cleanse challenge is included in that as well. We've also got, and I don't think anybody's seen this, it's the 2022 planner. So I've devised a planner that is specifically aimed at creative business people. So we've got how to use a planner, things that we need to get in there in terms of breaking the year down into quarters to plan it, identify the goals for the year, and you've got it broken down into months, and you've got it broken down into weeks, and guiding you through the planning process of making sure that nothing's missed. And I have included little motivational quotes on every single page, different ones, just to help you with your mindset, because I think sometimes there is a lot of overwhelm, and there is that whole feeling of there's this much to do, when actually if you just do a little bit at a time, then it will feel much more manageable. And that's included in the monthly marketing membership as well. Some people I think might have seen this already. It is an actual interactive schedule. It's built in Excel, which means that you can type into it directly, because some people do like being able to just put things online and put it straight on something that will then print out. A lot of people like printing things out and writing in them, which is great. I do a mixture of both, to be honest. I've got pages that I print out and I scroll on. I've got coloured pens everywhere. And you can plan your content topics on this. You can use it to research your key phrases, your hashtags, and also keep a track of what's working, what's not working. So there are sections for being able to keep track of the metrics. So where you've done a post and it's got a certain image on it, and it's got a certain caption on it, and then it's got certain hashtags, you can then start to keep track of how it actually did. So it's a really, really good visual way of being able to see what worked and what didn't work. So that's included as well. And then we've got the live event checklist. Now, this went out for the first time in the Crafters Shop email on Tuesday. I've added a few extra bits to this one, actually, and I'll be starting to sell this on Etsy because the downloads that are all on here will be available to buy to other people on Etsy. So that's where I think a lot of people will want to find these sort of things, because they're the sellers, they're the people that I really want to be able to help. And it's not just a checklist like that picture of, your stool, your chair, your cloth, all the rest of it. It's also about the things that you need to know up front. It's all about the things that the organisers should be giving you. It's all about how to, displaying the table, displaying your stall, and also about what to do afterwards. Because I think there's a lot that's missed after an event, where people just pack everything up, put it all in a box, put it in the car, unload it all when you go home, and then forget about that particular event. But there's an awful lot of content that can be used for social media, but there's also a lot of communication that you can do with your customers if you can capture some information at the event. There's ways of capturing GDPR compliant information at an event, which could be really, really useful for you going forward. We've also got a website checklist, and this is broken down into 6 sections. You've got your basic overviews, you've got things like design, you've got things like your content and images, and it's things that I know I've done in little chunks before, but it's a really useful checklist that you can pull out every month, maybe every 3 months if you're not doing a massive amount of online sales, just to give yourself a quick audit, a quick look at how is my website performing. Does everything work properly? What do I need to look at? If you're looking at maybe doing a rebranding, if you're looking at maybe rewriting some of the copy, or your keywords have changed, or that kind of thing, it's a good idea to have a look at your website at least every month. If you're keeping on adding products to it on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, that's brilliant. It's just making sure that everything's added in the right way and that you've still got your image files called the correct names, that they're all actually the right sorts of size. Because if an image size is too big, it will block the rendering of it, and Google will penalise you. And also, I think the attention span at the moment for an average person going onto websites is like 7 seconds. And if they don't find what they want in that, then that's it, they're off. So you've really got to make sure that the first thing they see is what you want them to see. There's a little added bonus. I think Debbie will have seen this because she's on the monthly marketing membership, The Secret of the Socials, and that's understanding how it all works. I see a lot of comments on social media complaining about social media, and I often have to sit on my hands when I see people complaining about Facebook's doing this and Instagram's doing that, and I kind of think they're not playing the game properly there, because Facebook and Instagram are businesses. They have to be run as businesses. They've got shareholders, they've got employees, they've got bills to pay. They give us a free platform and we can choose to use it. We don't have to use it, but I also remember the days when if you wanted to get anywhere in terms of advertising and promotion, you had to buy a little advert in a magazine or in a local newspaper, and you paid your £100. You had no control as to where it was going or who was going to read it. Yes, they can tell you the demographic readership and they can tell you the number of prints that are going out, but they can't actually tell you who's read it. But when you think about if you were to spend £100 on a Facebook advert, the amount of information that you would actually get back from that would be phenomenal. Yes, it's got less since the iOS 14 update because of the thing to do with the tracking and the pixels and everything, but it is one of those things that we can actually still use, and it's still a phenomenal resource if it's used properly. So that's also included in the monthly marketing membership. So as you can see, there's a lot of things that are included, and the monthly marketing membership is set up to just be, it's £17 a month at the moment. And there we go, it's 10 months, 10 modules, and they're all designed to guide you through how to market your small creative business. I don't release each month until after 30 days from the previous one, because what I don't want you to do is get overwhelmed, because I know that what happens is if you go online and look up, say, marketing for a small business, there will be hundreds of pages and they will each have their own ideas, their own, you need to do this, you need to do that, you've got to do all these things. And all of a sudden, your mind just says, well, I can't do it all, so I won't do anything. So the idea behind it being drip fed in 10 months is because I didn't want people to feel like they were signing up forever. I didn't want people to feel like there was this massive, great long commitment and that it was going to go on forever and ever and there wouldn't be an end to it. Everything that you need to know for the basics can be covered in 10 months. There can definitely be more in-depth stuff after that, but I don't want to overwhelm people. I don't want to cause any more workload that isn't going to add an actual benefit to your business. Each module guides you through in a logical manner what you need to do. And they'll cover, like I've said before, lots of elements that you might not think of as marketing. So things like your product range, that's something that from a marketing perspective is very important. Your prices, your costs, all of those sorts of things that need monitoring on a regular basis, because they do actually have an impact on your marketing in the longer term. It will give you once you've got a confidence in your costs and your pricing, you'll have a lot more confidence when it comes to your marketing. I also want you to have that kind of a mindset that says, I'm going to give it a go. It doesn't have to be, like we said, it doesn't have to be standing in front of the camera, doing all the kind of fancy dances, but trying something, putting something out there on social media, putting something out there that maybe is a little bit outside your comfort zone, but not too far out that it causes stress, that then just gives you a bit of a stretch, is actually in the same way as me playing Huckleberry Finn in The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. It's that whole thing of it's a little bit of a stretch, but when you've done it, you feel so good for doing it that actually it gives you the confidence to try it again. So this is what I've got on offer at the moment. It's £17 a month for 10 months, or there's a one-off payment of £135. But from September, it is going up because the £17 a month was the founding member launch price. And it was so that I could kind of find my feet. It was so that I could actually get feedback on, the modules and how it's been going and everything. And so far, it's gone really well. So I'm really quite impressed by it. And yeah, so from the 1st of September, I wanted to let everyone know really that it is going to be going up to the £37 a month. So to give everyone a sort of 2-3 weeks, something like that, a chance that if they were looking to sign up and actually get it the £17, that now is the time to do it. And what I'm going to do now is stop sharing and see